Illinois. Jon Shadbar, charged with a hate crime, attempted murder, other charges, after he allegedly shot his neighbor, Melissa Robertson, in what deputies believe was a racist incident. Deputies reported Robertson underwent surgery, is recovering from her wounds. So you're there in the hospital. And then you see the assailant on the left. Robertson's family telling NBC Chicago that Shadbar had been racially hostile towards them since they moved to the neighborhood 10 years ago.
With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show.
Robertson, who is white, has 2 black sons. Family members said Shadbar would fire his gun and throw fireworks into their yard regularly. Dead N-words, N-word this, N-word lover, called me the N-word straight to my face. My mom made him apologize. A few days later, he comes out holding a gun in his underwear. Mikael Johnson, Robertson's son, said to the local outlet. And a black star on top of this one, too. Family said they had called police numerous times about the racist harassment to no avail. It wasn't until the shooting things came to a head. They would say, unfortunately, as wrong and hateful as it is, it's freedom of speech. Nothing they can do, Johnson said. This did not need to happen at all. Not just our lives, but his life, his wife's, our neighbors are all affected by it. May 7th, witnesses told authorities Shadbar fired dozens of shots at his neighbor with an assault-style rifle while they were outside, and then started walking around his property still armed. When police and first responders got to the scene, they found the victim, rushed her to a nearby hospital in critical condition. At that point, Shadbar had barricaded himself inside his home. After a crisis negotiator got him on the phone, he surrendered himself to authorities. He made several incriminating statements while talking with the negotiator, that according to the sheriff's office. Robertson's niece, Natalie Bayer, who started the online fundraiser, saying since the story began to spread, the gunman's wife has lost her rank of sergeant with the Cook County Department of Corrections and is being investigated. A GoFundMe was launched to help pay for Robertson's medical expenses. As of May 13th, it's raised nearly $11,000 of its $75,000 goal. And you see it there asking for support. Melissa Robertson's Medical Recovery Fund. It's an uphill battle. The costs are enormous. And then, of course, there's the emotional cost, the trauma inflicted on this family. Something that sticks out at me, Jackson, is, I always look for what could have been done better. Gun in his underwear, the son says, the victim's son, at one point, after calling them the N-word. I like to look at these people who are drains on society. They're drains. Yes, there's freedom of speech, and I don't want that to change. But I look at these people akin to blight in a city. You live next to a rundown place. It's bringing down your property value. It's perhaps threatening your health. Rodents move in. All kinds of things occur. Buildings fall. Children get hurt. A lot of things happen. And so you have to go through a process. And then eventually, if the city is working as it should, building gets torn down, the house is demolished, the owner is sought to pay the fees. I wish there was something like that. It shouldn't take a mother being shot, recovering, her kids home to see things, the neighborhood terrorized, for there to finally be action. A negotiator was brought in. This fool was holed up in his home. And sure, we need to know more about what the wife is under investigation for, but what say you about, I don't know, what could have been done here? Isn't there a better way?
Yeah, to me, this really highlighted an issue that people all across the country have, particularly women, when they're dealing with men who are stalking them or men who are harassing them or threatening them in some type of way. I know a lot of people, a decent amount of people, at least throughout my life, who have had people knock the windows out of their cars, stab their tires, pop up on them, spy on them. And police were called over and over again. But if you don't have very hard evidence, then police can't really do much of anything. If you aren't able to record somebody coming into your house, and then after that, you still may need even more proof on top of the fact that if you aren't in maybe a wealthier neighborhood, or you yourself aren't a wealthier person or more notable, then police don't really care. Oftentimes they respond to stuff like after she got shot, then they'll pull up. But if you just say, I'm getting harassed, I'm getting death threats, they probably ain't gonna do nothing at all whatsoever. And again, I know that women really deal with this a lot. Obviously not with every man that they date, but a lot of women, maybe one guy in their past has stalked them or abused them in some type of way, and police ain't do nothing. So I think that this definitely needs to be addressed in the litigation process on what more can be done, especially given the fact that there's so many mass shootings. There's so many loopholes we got to address.
Yeah, and I just wish that, and thank you for acknowledging what women, me included, have been through, real, perpetual stalking, scary stuff. But thank you for recognizing that, it's not just freedom of speech. We all have that right, sure, but aren't we supposed to have the right to peace, the right to the pursuit of happiness? How can you do that when you have a monster living next door? It really is that serious to me. And I just think, listen, we're passing laws that mean nothing. I got it. But it just seems that there's a way. It's like after Nicole Brown Simpson, Ron Goldman were murdered. Do you remember before that, Jackson, that there was this thing where police would just, hey, you guys separate for the night. They wouldn't take anyone in. But laws changed because of that case. Whether you agree with it or not, laws change.